Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the ribbon cutting for the central section of Monocacy Boulevard. Thank you all for joining us today. As we gather on this happy occasion in our community to celebrate progress, the city has asked that we take a moment to remember those in another community that are racked in grief today. So please join me in a moment of silence for the victims, families, school staff, first responders, and residents of Newtown, Connecticut. Thank you. As I indicated, it is certainly a happy occasion in our community. Many of us have been watching the progress on this stretch, especially from that Gas House Pike perspective, to see the day that this stretch of road would be open. And it is great to see so many of the members of past city administrations joining us today. So I would like to introduce elected officials and special guests that have joined us. And we'll do them in batches, so hold your applause while we do a group of them. The 60th administration of the city of Frederick, Mayor Randy McClement, Alderman Karen Young, Michael O'Connor, Shelley Alloy, Carol Krim, and Kelly Russell. Thank you for joining us today. We have three of the city's former mayors with us today. Senator Ron Young, former mayor and alderman as well. Jeff Holtzinger, former mayor and city engineer. And Jim Grimes, former mayor and alderman. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And former members of the Board of Aldermen. I think we're starting with the most recent and going backwards. We have Marcia Hall, C. Paul Smith, current county commissioner, as well as former alderman. Alan Imhoff, Blaine Young, of course, current president of the county commissioners, but also a former city alderman. Mita Nash, Bill Hall, and John Kreisig. Thank you all for joining us today. Those are representatives that take us back 8 city administrations. Is there anybody here that I missed? I did want to mention Robin Summerfield has joined us, representing Senator Cardin, so thank you. And of course, from the delegation to Annapolis, Delegate Galen Claggett. So thank you for being here. At this time, please welcome Mayor Randy McClement.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's afternoon. Welcome to the opening of the key portion of the Monocacy Boulevard project. This project has been on the books since, we think, 1950-something, 58. And has been built incrementally over the last 30 years. Today, we opened up a portion of the central section of Monocacy Boulevard. The opening of this section will afford an easy connection between the new I-70 interchange all the way to US 15 and North Market Street. It will help ease traffic in downtown area, as well as provide an increased economic development potential along this route. It will afford better access to major employers like Frederick National Labs, Wells Fargo, State Farm, as well as downtown Frederick and a couple of our city gems, Frederick Municipal Airport and the Frederick Golf Course. The city of Frederick is investing in capital projects like this one to position our community for the future. Projects such as roads, utilities, airport, parks and trail improvements are assets that we must continue to move forward to help improve the quality of life for our citizens and create economic development and jobs. This project has spanned over 6 mayors and 8 administrations of the city of Frederick. Today, we are honored to have someone from each of those administrations on hand to join us in this celebration. As John said, again, I'd like to recognize the current Board of Aldermen who are here. Thank you all very much. I'd also like to welcome 3 of the past 6 mayors that join us today. Mayor of the city of Frederick from 1970 to 1982, State Senator Ron Young. Mayor of the city of Frederick from 1994 to 2002, Mayor Jim Grimes. And the mayor of the city of Frederick from 2006 to 2009, Jeff Holtzinger. In just a few minutes, we will hear from each of them, and as they join us today, to express their thoughts and what this opening means to our city. In addition, we have, as John noted, we have representatives from the past 8 City Board of Aldermen, as well as city staff, local developers, all who are part of this joint effort to make this project a reality. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us today and for your participation in this project. Now it's my honor to introduce Zach Kirshner, who's our city engineer who has worked on this project and is the key figure in getting this project completed. I want to take this opportunity to thank Zach and staff for all the hard work they've done to get us to this point. And I'd like we all please give a big round of applause for Mr. Zach Kirshner.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. As the mayor said, my name is Zach Kirshner. I'm the city engineer for the city of Frederick. And for the past 5 years, I've been the project manager on this project. And as the mayor mentioned, this is a key portion of the Monocacy Boulevard center section. With the completion of this portion, you'll now be able to travel from the new I-70 East Street interchange, recently completed by the State Highway Administration, out to US 15. And there are plans, obviously, in the future for additional work, including extending this 4-lane road section out over the Monocacy River, a new Monocacy River bridge, and ultimately a full access interchange at US 15, Monocacy Boulevard, and Christopher's Crossing. Just to give a little background on the project, as I mentioned, I started on it about 5 years ago, worked under Mayor Jeff Holtzinger. We began the process of final design and permitting at that time. We utilized in-house staff, the talent of many of our in-house staff members to conduct surveying and engineering to get through the initial submittals for permitting. We then contracted with Fox & Associates, who are here today. They did a phenomenal job in taking those documents to final design and in obtaining the permits. I'd like to thank them. And in December 2009, the successful bidder, CJ Miller, who is here today, broke ground and began construction on what was about a 7,000-foot long 4-lane road, including a 285-foot triple arch bridge over Carroll Creek. Throughout construction, we endured major snowstorms, including the infamous Snowmageddon in 2010, multiple floods, and multiple hurricanes. And after much hard work and perseverance, the project will be officially open today. You'll notice as part of the project, as part of a multimodal approach that the city has taken to transportation, we've included accommodations for vehicles, pedestrians, and bicycles. I'm standing on a shared use path here, which runs from Hughes Ford Road down to Gas House Pike and on up to Schifferstadt Boulevard. And as future extensions of this road, that path would be extended into downtown and on out toward Riverside Center Park. We had many challenges with the project, starting at permitting. Due to the proximity of the stream crossing and floodplains, special attention had to be given to environmental impacts as required by MD and the Army Corps. We've installed stormwater management facilities, meeting state and local requirements to address stormwater, and we had to adhere to strict requirements to stay out of the creek during construction. And on that note, I'd like to thank Maryland Department of the Environment and the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA for their cooperation throughout the project. With that, I just wanted to thank a few people before I introduce the next speaker. There's really too many to name, but the key individuals that I've worked with: Fox & Associates, John Mazzellin, Joe Cece and your staff, thank you. Specialized Engineering, Dave Wiggin and your staff did an excellent job. Contact Construction is here today. They're the ones that fabricated and delivered the sections for the bridge. Christopher Goodwin and Associates did some of the permitting studies for us. Our city staff, our tireless inspector, Dominic Prost, who is here today, and he was out here virtually every day of the project. Thank you, Dominic. Our surveyors, Bill Langford and staff, and our office manager, Janice Dorcas, and all the other staff in the city from DPW to planning and engineering. We all were part of a team that got this done, so thank you all very much. The contractor, CJ Miller, and their subcontractors, they did an excellent job in constructing the road. The property owners affected, including the Wrens, Schley, and Umberger, various utility companies, the Board of County Commissioners for all of their support over the years, State Highway Administration, previous city administrations, and including Mayor Holtzinger's administration in their efforts to move the project forward through challenging design and permitting issues, and finally, Mayor McClement and the entire 60th administration for their support throughout the 3 years of construction. Thank you all very much. And with that, I'd like to introduce former Mayor Jeff Holtzinger.
One thing I'd like to take credit for is hiring the guy just spoke. He's done a tremendous job on this project. As Mayor McClement and Zach have said, this does mark the completion of a critical link of Monocacy Boulevard, which at one time was also known as the Ring Road. The whole project's been known as several names. Jobs Pathway, which hope this will, bear that name out as it connects over to the Industrial Center East Park, not Industrial Center, Riverside Park. But it also helps connect it to Industrial Center East when you connect over to Rikesford Road. The alignment has changed a little bit through the years, but the ideal first appeared in 1959 on the Highway Master Plan. The other parts of the road you may not think about, and this should be momentum for building that, are Christopher's Crossing and Old Camp Road. The road changes names when it crosses Route 15, turns into Christopher's Crossing, and then when you get to Shookstown Road, it turns into Old Camp Road and eventually ends at 40 on the west side of town. Work on the northern and central sections was really pushed by the Jim Grimes administration, and hopefully the momentum for the progress on this ring road, this momentum should be used to press forward on some of the missing links on Christopher's Crossing and Old Camp Road. And I hope we can use the city can use the same methods here, starting out with some in-house design to get the ball rolling, and then bringing in local, and I stress the word local, consultants to get the project finished. That's, in this case, certainly helped by using local consultants, people who knew this area, folks that knew this area, and could respond rapidly to design or construction considerations to keep the project moving. It was a tough decision probably to acquire the right-of-way here, but Jim Grimes' administration pushed through and did get that job done. That may have been one of the toughest parts of this job, to acquire this right-of-way. And then in approximately 2006 to 2008, the city's engineering department and land survey teams began executing the difficult task of getting this part of the road designed. And to be sure, this section of the road had a lot of challenges with the floodplain, with the karst geology. It was a momentous task to get this design completed and approved and permitted. And I'd have to say, I think Zach covered a lot of the folks in-house and some through construction. But Zach Kirshner, I know Bill Langford and his folks on the survey division, and Janice Dorcas, who's been through many sections of this project, having to deal with the headaches, including still trying to find the plans I hid from her somewhere in City Hall. Janice thought I was hoarding plans too long, so that's for the northern section. But in my estimate, you probably these folks probably saved the city a couple $100,000 in the initial part of the design of this project, and they did do a tremendous job by initiating the design, the alignment, the stormwater management designs, the floodplain study. That was all projects that were done in-house were started in-house, and they did a tremendous job. And here's something Zach did mention that you don't hear too often. But we brought the Corps of Engineers in here, and MDE walked the alignment with them, showed them what we wanted to do, and they were tremendous help with advice and assistance in getting this project permitted. I know there was more than just these folks, but I know Joe DeVia of the Army Corps of Engineers and Bill Seeger were key to helping get this permitting for this project moving forward. And that's resulted in this road opening today. There's another success story wrapped up in this project, and Zach did mention that too, is again the use of local consultants. Fox and Associates and Specialized Engineering are two that come to mind right away. Again, Fox picked up, was flexible to work with what Zach and the City Engineering Department had started and take the design from there. One thing they came up with was the use of these arches here, and this probably was close to $1 million savings for the city of Frederick. State Highway Administration, I hope you're listening. Specialized Engineering. Anywhere on this side of town, you're dealing with karst geology, and to design a road, the foundation for this bridge and the road itself is a challenge, and their expertise and knowledge of this area certainly helped get the design finalized and approved. So again, these were two local firms that were key success to this project. Finally, again, take this opportunity, and Commissioner Young reminded me he's the last one to speak, so I better be careful what I'm saying here. But since him and Senator Young are here, there's other sections that need funded on this project. And the next section to go towards the Riverside Industrial Park is, in my opinion, an opportunity for synergy with the city and the county. The county has the ability to do some of the work, maybe the retaining wall to straighten out the alignment there. City has surveying that maybe could be used elsewhere in the county. So I hope that will be something that's considered as this moves forward. And funding for the Monocacy Boulevard crossing of Route 15, Senator Young and Delegate Claggett, while you're here. Hopefully that can be pushed forward, and a common sense approach to that design, which is a very straightforward interchange design, can be moved forward. That gets done, and you're gonna knock out the rest of this design, because the city's gonna take care of the other parts of it, Christopher's Crossing and Old Camp Road. So again, thank you for having me, and I'm pleased to see it open. It was a lot of work, but it was well worth it. And with that, I'd like to introduce former Mayor Jim Grimes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a very important milestone for the city of Frederick, and it has taken years to reach this day, and another link closer to completing the eastern bypass. But we can't stop here. The curves that address us here to our northwest at the sewer treatment plant, they must be corrected. During our administration, we acquired the properties on that corner, so that helps to address that issue. This link is very important to the movement of traffic, as has been stated, on East Street and East Church Street. New development, new jobs, new opportunities, new taxes comes with this day. But most important, there are many people to thank for. Without their assistance and their cooperation, this opening on this day may not be possible. Did Mrs. Wren make it? Well, certainly, I want to recognize the Robert Wren family. This is the portion that we acquired from them. The Sly family that gets Schifferstadt through, and obviously the Umberger family. I did, along with my city attorney at that point in time, met with Mr. Umberger and his family a couple times, and I hope that can move forward, as we need to move forward in that area. The prior owners of the Rosenstock farm, we had the pleasure of annexing that back in the early 60s, 70s, and that was a very important part. Hydro Conduit, I can't say enough for them. Many of you may not be aware, but they upfronted the money to build that bridge across the Monocacy River, and then we paid them back, after the bridge was built. And that was a very big savings to what came to reality. The administration that served and supported me, as we acquired the land that was mentioned by Jeff. Without the cooperation of the Wrens and my people at that time under my administration. Mayor Jeff, the guy that I hired, was the city engineer, and later is the mayor who followed through with forwarding this project. And the current administration, as earlier mentioned, we commend them for completing this leg. With this opening, many of you may know there's about 30 plus acres on the east side of this road that we had to acquire from the Wrens as a condition of purchasing the property. Now that's all industrial land and can be sold and used to build the next link. So we can invest that money as well. So with all that, and as all has been mentioned, I want to congratulate the city of Frederick and all of you here today for anything that you had to do, with bringing this to fruition. And I say, God bless this world, God bless this community, God bless all of you for being a part of it. I now introduce the former mayor, of which I had the opportunity to serve as an alderman under.
Way back.
Way back.
Well, to start with, I was actually mayor from 1974 till 1990, during those years. And Jim served on my board the second administration. I actually learned something today that pass on to this mayor and future mayors. Look on your shelves for old studies. It was one of the first things I did when I started looking at downtown and other projects. I never saw this one from 1959, if it was there, but in the 70s, city engineer at the time, Michael Pugh, came down and we met and started drawing alignments for this thing to totally loop the city. Some of those alignments have changed, and I think there's a few more that might be changed as this is completed to make it all work. This has had several components. Monocacy Boulevard, as it goes up by Worman's Mill, it used to be Traders Lane, that's now Monocacy Boulevard. Then it hits Route 15, and when you cross there and go on up, you hit Christopher's Crossing, and that loops through Whittier, around to Shookstown Road. Well, Old Receiver Road doesn't get to Shookstown Road. And then coming off of East Patrick Street, it's Old Camp Road. And I think by the time all those pieces are put together, it will totally loop the city. And I think at some point it might connect back into 70, though that's not on the drawings right now. During my administration, we did start the part, and while Jim was on the board, from East Patrick Street towards the airport. We had planned to try to have this entire thing built privately. All of Christopher's Crossing was built by developers. The piece through Old Camp Road was built by developers. When we annexed the Rosenstock Farm and got the golf course in that whole area, that was the initial plan. But then we hit some rough bumps with the economy, and under Mayor Grimes' administration, they stepped in and figured out how to finish that section of Monocacy Boulevard, which required city funding, as did this piece. And there are a few more pieces that will certainly require city funding too. But it was very important on that first notch because it really made the Rosenstock Farm available for development, and where SAIC has gone and where Wells Fargo has gone, if that piece hadn't been put in, we probably wouldn't have those and several other businesses back there. So that was a very important part, and this section should open quite a bit more area for industrial development. And the East Side planning, East Side Rising planning we've done, if followed through, is going to make this a fantastic addition to the city. The way that's planned, this whole area out here could accommodate anywhere up to 40,000 people and 40,000 jobs in the future if developed right. So it'd be an unbelievable jobs and economic and tax base boost for the city. I think the piece at the end of Christopher's Crossing going over to Shookstown Road, that had to be realigned because of some property disputes there. But my guess is by the time that gets done, we may go back to a better alignment than what's there now, because there were some pieces that the owners didn't want to develop that I think are going to want to develop in the future. So I said we'll keep working to try to move the interchange forward. Some ideas for that. It is going to be tough. We're running out of money at the state on transportation, so we've got to figure out how to get that project in and how to come up with future transportation money. But congratulations to 2 or 3 administrations that worked on this piece. I think it's going to be a great thing for Frederick City, and I hope to live long enough to see the entire loop around the city, because it does. One of the main things we were looking for this is not just the job creation, but the traffic flow. When people were on the edge of the city, they had to drive in to drive back out. And now by connecting all the state routes and local roads, people can cross around here without having the traffic impact on downtown Frederick that existed in the past. So it's going to be great for that and great for economic development. And congratulations on the opening today.
Good. you've heard, this road has had many names. Ring Road, that's the first I heard that. Jobs Pathway, Monocacy Boulevard, Grimes Boulevard, but you vetoed that. We want to thank, also, I think that you talked about J&R Limited Partnership, the late Neil Jenkins, Dave Weinberg, also Steve Hazing at CSR Hydro Conduit, and Ed Scott, who brought CSR the town. I see Mita, I see Bill, I don't think Joe's here. Do you know where we were on this very date, 1998 at 7 p.m.? We were at City Hall on this very issue. Today's date, 1998, 7 o'clock, to a packed house, arguing or debating and getting the pros and cons of CSR Hydro Conduit and a TIF. Then Chief Financial Officer John Leisering said the goal of TIF financing is to increase the tax base more than the cost of the project. Alderman Hall voiced concerns about the county backing out. So that's a little piece of history. If we went through that from when you went from the Hoke Board to the next county. And then you had Alderman Nash making the comment that she would support the TIF funding only when there are extraordinary requirements for infrastructure, such as the funding for the bridge, not for normal road improvements. Well, this TIF has benefited a lot of folks, has benefited not only the city, but the county, with the expanded accessible tax base, the jobs, and the vote was 4-1. Alderman Baldy made the motion, I seconded it, and it passed 4-1. It was pretty interesting that the one alderman that voted against it said that she couldn't vote for it because the citizens didn't want it. Well, I think that the proof is in the pudding. This was a good decision we made. It's created a lot of jobs. We look forward to partnering with the city. It was unfortunate that the county did pull out then, and I think that we need to re-examine it and, as they say, bring an opportunity to the table, and let's put a plan in place so that we can finally complete this, because as we all know, it has been good, not only for the tax base, it's been good for the jobs, it's been good for the city, it's been good for the county, and good for the state. So thank you very much. It's been an honor and privilege, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you to all of our speakers. I remember another date in December. We were standing on a bridge on Monocacy Boulevard cutting a ribbon. It was then Alderman Young, and it was 30 degrees colder, but no overcoat that day. I see you're prepared today, just in case. Yeah, I guess it's the timing of when the asphalt plants close for the year that we have these ribbon cuttings in December. And I know you've all been enjoying the wonderful view of the clustered spires of Frederick straight in front of you. Not a view that folks will have very often, but at this point we are going to move over to the ribbon. I want to thank the bicyclists that are here for letting us use the shared use path for our remarks today. But let's line up along the ribbon now with the current mayor and aldermen in the center at the yellow stripes, flanked by previous city elected officials and also city staff. And we'll do the honors and cut the ribbon.